Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for watching. Tonight we'll tell you about the emergency shelter for displaced residents, extended for a few more days. Plus, a deal ratified after a tumultuous stretch. CUPE votes to make its contract with the government official. As our region continues to try and manage an influx of respiratory illnesses, a new clinic opens. And after a pandemic hiatus, the Silver Bells are back at Willisted Manor. We begin tonight with news that an emergency shelter run by the city will remain open. This is where dozens of people are staying after a downtown apartment was evacuated last month. It was supposed to close this morning, but that has now changed. CBC's TJ Deer joins us now live from the evacuated building. TJ, what have you been hearing from residents?
Well, Kat, one of the residents I spoke with earlier today said that he was grateful to be in his new apartment. He told me that he actually received his apartment earlier than some of the other residents and that he's been there since this past Friday. Now, he was also upset that some of the others still have nowhere to go, despite the shelter set to close once again later this week.
Frustrating for them, scary at the same time, because, yeah, they don't know what they're going to do next after the shelter closes.
Ted Irwin is one of the more fortunate ones. Him and his wife are two of the 81 people who were evacuated from 1616 Olette Avenue that were able to get accommodations. But there are still some residents who need a place to stay. Because they were told the shelter would be closing, some thought they'd be homeless this afternoon.
It feels like it was a quick Band-Aid, and although the Band-Aid was soothing, I feel like it's now being ripped off and we're now being exposed to the elements again. Because 30 people were still using the emergency shelter, the City of Windsor announced that it would remain open until Friday.
You'll see no one on the street. At the end of the day, you know, potentially the emergency shelter system is a potential option that will be some offered if it goes to that. Once again, we're trying to narrow that down to as few people as possible.
Whittle said the decision was made over the weekend to extend the shelter's opening, but residents did not find out about it until just before this morning's original deadline.
It was the same idea that we're working towards and seeing what the people have in terms of options, and like I would say, the vast majority of people do have some significant housing plans in place.
Today, people were coming in and out of 1616 Olette to pick up their belongings, with security accompanying them. People who live here have put up with a lot, telling CBC News they've been without heat and electricity since September. Irwin said that he has no plans to return once renovations are complete, but mentioned that other people will be coming back.
I know a few people that are going to come back because they can't afford anything else, you know? And this is all they know. So hopefully they can get back in and get back in soon.
Now, as for the building behind me, the earliest that residents may be able to return isn't until this summer. That's according to the project manager. Kat?
Thanks, TJ. This is CBC's TJ Deer live tonight. CUPE says its Ontario education workers have voted to ratify a contract with the government.
41,559 of our 55,000 workers voted in this ratification process, and 30,330 voted in favor of this tentative agreement. That is 73%.
The vote ends what had been a contentious process. At one point, workers walked off the job for 2 days. That came after the government passed and later repealed legislation imposing a contract on them. It also banned them from striking and used the notwithstanding clause to allow the override of certain charter rights. The two sides returned to the bargaining table and struck a tentative deal on November 20th. The deal gives the average worker a $1 per hour raise each year. A new clinic has opened in Leamington. It's aimed at helping people see a nurse or a doctor who have flu, cold, or COVID-like symptoms. The clinic will be run at the hospital at Erie Shores. People will be able to book appointments online at the hospital's website. It comes as hospitals in our area continue to feel the pressure of respiratory illnesses. Windsor Regional Hospital opened a similar clinic 2 weeks ago. A major milestone for a shifting auto industry was hit today. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Premier Doug Ford were in Ingersoll today. Both were on hand to mark the opening of Canada's first full-scale electric vehicle manufacturing plant. CBC's Nisha Patel has more.
For decades, these workers built gas-powered cars. Now the vehicles they're rolling off the assembly line are all electric.
Our intent is to ramp up as quickly as possible. We have very high demand for these vehicles.
The plant in Ingersoll, Ontario will now produce BrightDrop electric delivery vans for customers including FedEx, Walmart, and Hertz in the U.S., as well as DHL in Canada.
The next decade, you're going to see an onslaught of electric vehicles. You'll see continued investment in Canada because we are all in for the future.
The factory closed in May to be retooled into a $1 billion facility, partially funded by $500 million from the provincial and federal governments combined.
We're focused on making sure we're competitive.
The investment's meant to ensure Canada's auto sector doesn't fall behind as the U.S. pushes forward with huge subsidies to secure clean energy jobs. Analysts say Canada has been holding its own, with companies like Stellantis and LG committing billions of dollars in recent months to build EVs or make batteries here.
They're well positioned to get more than their share. I think Mexico might be behind at the moment.
If Canada can keep up this momentum, it could mean shifting fortunes for auto workers.
Canada is a very mineral-rich country. We're, proximity to the United States, and establishing the battery supply chain within North America is a significant opportunity.
In Ingersoll, 400 staff have been retrained to build EVs. As many as 1,600 could be on the job by the end of next year.
We'll actually have to hire for the third shift, which is good news for people looking for work.
After enduring years of uncertainty from a declining auto sector, for these auto workers, there's a clearer road ahead. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Ingersoll, Ontario.
A judge has found Major General Denis Fortin not guilty of sexual assault. Fortin is the former head of the federal government's COVID vaccine campaign, and the allegation stretched back to 1988. Ashley Burke has the story, and we warn that some viewers may find the details disturbing.
How are you feeling going into the courthouse today? A Quebec judge has acquitted Major General Denis Fortin of one count of sexual assault from an allegation tied to 1988 when he was a cadet at Royal Military College. The judge in this case said that he did believe the complainant was sexually assaulted, but was not convinced without a reasonable doubt that it was Fortin who was the culprit.
We're not completely happy with such a verdict. We think that the evidence that we submitted was enough for an accusation and a condemnation. Now, I think the judge decided to permit the accused to benefit from the doubt.
The complainant had alleged that she was horrified to awake in bed in 1988 to a man standing over her. She said that the man had her hand on his hand and was using it to masturbate. Fortin had maintained that he was innocent and said that he never stepped foot in her room or had any physical contact with the woman. He was seen after the ruling was given today, hugging his wife and others in the courtroom.
I am so relieved by the judge's decision today. As you would expect, this is a huge burden off our shoulders, my shoulders and that of my family. This is one important step in an ongoing process to prove my innocence and recover my reputation.
Fortin maintains that he was wrongfully dismissed from his role as the head of Canada's vaccine rollout last year with the Public Health Agency of Canada. He now has a federal court of appeal case that's going to be going on in the coming months, and he said he's also considering if there are other legal options, but at this point is not considering leaving the military. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Gatineau.
The high cost of food is already squeezing the budgets of many Canadians. And a report today predicts grocery bills will continue to rise next year, as much as 7%. Philippe de Montagny reports on the tough choices consumers may have to make.
Cutting down on food costs has been a challenge for Julie Highland.
In order to stay within our budget now, we eat a lot less meat, and I definitely shop a lot more sales and plan my menus around what's on sale.
The mother of three also uses food waste apps to buy nearly expired items at a steep discount. The challenge, though, isn't going away soon. A new report suggests the average Canadian family with 2 teenagers will spend close to $16,300 on food next year, up more than $1,000.
There's absolutely no safe place at the grocery store. You can't really seek any sort of immunity against food inflation right now.
Some families are having to consider even tougher choices.
Maybe we'll have to look out for food banks. It's unfortunate that it has come to that, and I guess I'm hoping that we don't have to.
Farmers and other food producers say they're not driving higher prices.
I saw an 8-pound prime rib roast going for $200. Well, when we're selling wholesale cattle into that market, we're not seeing that kind of price ourselves. There's a lot of in-between stuff where the inflation happens.
This cattle rancher says rising interest rates are also squeezing many producers running on a line of credit.
Those rates, like you see them jump, what, 3.5%, 4%? That's a huge difference.
The good news is market pressures should ease in the second half of 2023, according to the report, echoing what some forecasters are predicting.
We're not expecting prices to drop, but we are expecting the food inflation rate to stabilize somewhat.
A result, he says, of a slowing economy.
There you go.
For this Calgary family, there's not much fat left to trim from the food budget.
We've already cut back so much, and at this rate, I don't know what sacrifices we can continue to make just to cope with the rising costs.
Philippe de Montigny, CBC News, Toronto.
You'll probably remember our story on Friday about the Adopt a Family program for the holidays, the one at Windsor Family Homes and Community Partnerships. We told you about how they were eagerly looking for more sponsors to help families and individuals in need get a proper Christmas. Well, I checked back in with them to find out what's happened since we ran our story.
It's been pretty crazy. Between emails and phone calls, we pretty much can't keep up. So, it's really awesome to see.
How does it feel to see the community support come through?
Honestly, we didn't get as many requests prior to our interview. We didn't get as many requests as we have in the past, which was understandable because of the times we're living in. But just to see this outpouring of caring is absolutely unreal, especially when it's so uncertain for everyone right now. We cannot thank the Windsor Essex community enough for coming through. And just, the response and the generosity and just the, I can't do a lot, but I'd like to do something. That's what means the most.
When I spoke with them last week, they had about 50 sponsors, and since Friday, they've managed to get 60 new sponsors. So that means not only are they able to help their own clients, but they're also able to reach out to colleagues at other organizations who also work with people in need to get them sponsored for Christmas as well. They are still accepting sponsors if you're still interested in taking part, and there are, of course, other ways to help as well. Yakonich says they're always in need of donations for their food bank. A beautiful tune there, and if you want to hear more, you're in luck. The Silver Bells are performing at Willisted Manor this Sunday. And this holiday season marks the first time the 8-person group has played to a live crowd since before the pandemic began. I caught up with Dale Burkholder to hear more about the show and ring a few bells myself. All right.
Okay, first thing I'm going to ask is you put on the gloves that are there.
Real fancy.
We wear the gloves partially for the visual, but it's also to protect the bells.
Yes,
because if you've ever had brass or silver in your house, they're fun to polish. Imagine polishing over 100 of these things.
Good point.
They take a while. Pick up the bells.
Okay, both of them or just
both
the
of
one?
them.
Okay.
Now to play, you just do a little click, little snap.
Lovely. Dale, what is it about playing the bells that resonates with you so much?
For one thing, it's the fact that an inanimate object can make sound and sound beautiful, and the magic of the sound that a group makes, or even an individual who has learned how to play them as a solo instrument. You ready to play?
I'm ready. Let's try this.
I remember you said that you know how to count to 4.
Yes.
So the first measure is 1, 2, 3, and hold. 1, 2, 3, and hold.
And what about the sound itself? What makes it so special?
For me, especially at the holiday season, bells are so associated with the holidays and the magic and sometimes the mystery of the sound. From an audience standpoint, it's like they're dancing. So you kind of get that feel of like a ballet of different things moving.
Hey!
There you go.
That was pretty
Your
good.
first song, you passed the audition.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was an awesome lesson. Big thanks to Dale. That was such an awesome part of my day. Now, they are also collecting for our Sounds of the Season campaign at the show. Now, tonight, that show will be on Sunday, so you can bring a food donation with you and you can drop it off in the donation bin that is there. And they're also doing tours of the Willisted Manor on Wednesdays and Sundays, and you can book those online through the city website. And you're going to want to check that out because it is beautiful in there right now for the holidays. Weather with Colette Kennedy is coming up next. Stay with us. Santa made his way through Windsor this weekend as part of the parade, and he was picking up letters and wants kids to know that there's still time to get one to the North Pole. You want to get that letter in by Friday to make it in time, though. Students at St. James Catholic Elementary School in Windsor, they're really on top of things. Their letters are ready to go.
My name is Gianna and I am 7 years old. For Christmas, one thing I need is a jacket. One thing I want is Lego set. I can't wait for you to visit. Thank you. Love, Gianna.
What are you guys putting in your letters right now?
We're putting what we want for Christmas.
That's exciting. What do you want?
What do I want? I want a new jacket because it's almost winter.
It's cold out there, hey?
Yeah.
What about you? What are you gonna ask for Santa?
I want a dog and I want new shoes because it's getting cold outside and my shoes are very thin.
So we try to focus on things that we need, which is like clothing, bedding, things like that. Wants the electronics like video games, toys, cats and dogs. And then wishes was just something that they wished for. A lot of them still wished for toys, but we did that just to kind of make it easier for them.
The staff is incredible, and they look at those lists and they look at those wishes and the wants and the needs, and if things are really dire and need to be taken care of, then the staff takes that on. And they'll let the principal know, and Kim will let me know, and with the sisters and our donors, we try to provide whatever we can to give them a good Christmas. It's never a question of what these teachers and EAs and secretaries and custodians and principals and vice principals, everybody has a part in being part of the St. James community, knowing what these families need and how they can best provide for them.
Colette Kennedy joins us now for a look at our weather forecast. And Colette, it's stories like the last one there about writing letters to Santa that gets you in the holiday spirit, but you look outside, doesn't really look very winter wonderland-y yet.
Like, oh, geez. Yeah, no, it really doesn't. I mean, contending with gray skies, but mild temperatures. So
it's weird.
Yeah, it's more kind of early fall-like than getting closer to the beginning of winter. But I think there are many that will take that trade-off of some milder temperatures. And the cold front is back here to our west, and you can see the bitterly cold temperatures in the prairies where they have extreme cold warnings across the provinces there and spilling into parts of northern Ontario. And then you get the pushback of the milder air, and then we get this kind of nearly stationary front there as the two air masses are meeting up. But we do have some instability with that low pressure moving across the Great Lakes, and that's also bringing in some light, showery, drizzly type weather. And it is in that form because of the temperatures. When you look at them, even overnight tonight, we're looking at the readings really being on the milder side of things and staying a few degrees above freezing with this southerly flow. Now, it's Sarnia, okay, maybe towards Goderich, a few areas where there will be a little bit of light mixing, so a little bit of wet flurry activity is possible, but mostly you can see the radar is picking up green in nature, so drizzle and showers, some foggy conditions at times when those winds back off without the mixing of the air mass. Carries on tonight into tomorrow morning, probably begin to see some breaks in the precipitation and the drizzle, but not necessarily in the gray skies. We've got to get through kind of midweek before things really kick out of here and we lose this instability, and we'll see things breaking up and getting some sun coming back at us. So here you are with those temperatures. I mentioned how mild they are through the overnight, and this is what the temperature story is like over the next few days. So 6 tomorrow, up to 8 on Wednesday, and check out the overnight low is mild. And then we're going to kind of gradually start to push things down again. But I know that sun will be welcome when we see that sun getting here. So that's something to look forward to into Thursday. And you know, Katerina, late on Wednesday, we might even see some of that cloud cover breaking up too.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much for that, Colette.
You're welcome.
When we come back, we'll tell you about how people are supporting people in their own communities in other parts of the country. Stay with us.
Available free.
Welcome back. I want to end tonight with a look at something very special happening on Prince Edward Island. The community fridge in Charlottetown is filling up with holiday treats, all thanks to a group of volunteers.
It's magical to see people just so keen to support something as awesome as a community fridge.
It doesn't surprise me at all, given the community that we have in Charlottetown and across PEI. There's so many people willing to help, come out, show their skills and support in any ways that they can. So it's been really heartwarming.
About 20 volunteers showed up over the weekend to bake, to decorate, and pack 8 different kinds of cookies. And there are now more than 1,000 of these treats. The volunteers hope they will bring some much needed cheer to those who are struggling. The PEI Food Exchange organizes group cooking events every month to help stock up the community fridge. And if you are looking for ways to give back here in our area, we will be collecting food and donations for local area food banks. It's all part of CBC Windsor's Sounds of the Season campaign. We are also going to be holding special shows on December 15th, both here at Windsor, CBC Windsor News at 6 and Windsor Morning as well. And Nav and I are also inviting you into our studios that day. So drop on in during your lunch break that day to check out the space and we'll have a chat. We'd love to meet you. And we will also have live musical guests, some prize giveaways, and much, much more. And for more information, keep an eye out on cbc.ca/Windsor. And that is it for CBC Windsor News. For more news as well, you can go to our website, cbc.ca/Windsor. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks for watching and have a great night.